Good evening. This is Satan's Trilogy, Book 3, Chapter 5, and it is reading 96. I am the author and the narrator. Sit back, relax, and let the story unfold. Graduation came and went, with a large amount of acclamations given to students, teachers, and administrators during the 3-hour program. The school's good fortune for having a generous contributor to their scholarship fund was reviewed several times. The scholarship program was discussed several times. Day, Raven, Eve, Chris, Helen, and of course Esther were all in the top 10. And as a matter of fact, the top 10 seniors were all girls. After the graduation ceremony, everyone went to Italy's pizza parlor to celebrate. It was a wonderful night of celebrating. Day with her father, Jen Ho, Esther with Brandy, along with Helen, Chris, and Eve, had arrived early. Raven and Riley Grace showed up with their father. John, Jack, and Wes were there with John's mother, beaming with pride at his side. She couldn't give Esther enough credit and appreciation for having somehow inspired her son to return to school. Brandy enjoyed herself and, as usual, had a pitcher of beer that led to her becoming tired early in the evening. Danielle Elizabeth and Tracy Ann had intended on joining them, but their preliminary instructions for Saturday night had gone over, and they were not able to attend. Nonetheless, the evening had been magical, and the girls were now graduates, along with John, Wes, Mike, and Chris. Esther, Day, and Aunt Brandy arrived home a little after midnight, and they entered the apartment quietly, assuming Daniel and Tracy would be asleep. They were not. Daniel quickly ran up to Esther and hugged her while Tracy was hugging Day, and when they switched and hugged the other graduate, "So we wanted to be there for the two of you," said Daniel to the girls. "That's right," said Tracy. "We kept telling the director we had to go, but they weren't listening." Tracy looked at the girls. "This is so exciting. You both can do anything now? Whatever you want." Tracy was very excited and was unable to contain her enthusiasm. Danielle quickly added, "So do you both have plans? Work, school, travel? What's next?" Esther spoke up. "This fall I start a 3-year program at the Chicago Culinary Academy. Of course, I'll be helping my uncle at his restaurant whenever needed." Day quickly said, "I have been accepted at the University of Chicago. I will be in a medical program." Everyone could tell that Day was beaming with enthusiasm and excitement. This was her life's dream. "What's so great about this is that Day and I will still be able to see each other," said Esther. And Brandy finally spoke up. "And I won't be separated from either of my girls. I want to keep you as close as possible, and for as long as possible." Brandy leaned into Day and Esther to hug them, and feeling a bit woozy, she said, "Girls, I think that I should go to bed. Love you both." Brandy looked up and saw the twins and leaned into them, saying, "Love all 4 of you." With that, Brandy started down the hallway to her bedroom. "I can do this. Go ahead and visit. See you in the morning." Esther watched her walking down the hallway and turned to the others, smiling. She won't make it. I'll tuck her in later. Esther smiled and chuckled. Day laughed. Esther, you read my mind. Tracy looked at Danielle and said, let's give them their gift. Danielle quickly ran back to her purse and pulled out 2 ID tags with black ribbons on them. Danielle handed one to both girls. This ID tag can get you backstage at any W.O.W. event. Tracy spoke up and emphasized, that is any event. Day and Esther took the passes and studied them as they thanked the girls. Heavily laminated with photos of the girls and a W.O.W. hologram with a security chip. The cards were obviously made to prevent counterfeiting and would be nearly impossible to duplicate. Esther and Day both realized this and were immediately humbled by the gift. These are wonderful, said Day. Can we take guests with us when we use these? Tracy smiled. That the girls loved the gifts and were ready to answer any questions about them. You can have up to 5 guests. No more than 5, Tracy explained, and then added, but of course, that is per badge. So if you come together, you could bring as many as 10 guests. Day just looked at the pass for a few minutes and added, wow, she said nothing more. Esther smiled. I love it. Thank you so much. Esther gave each twin a hug while thanking them again. Day quickly did the same. Esther then smiled and said, I'll go and put Aunt Brandy to bed and then finish my daily routines. Quickly, Danielle and Tracy asked if they could help, and of course, Esther was more than pleased and welcomed the offer. As Esther suspected, Aunt Brandy laid across the bed with her clothes on. All 3 girls helped in removing Brandy's shoes and putting her silk pajamas on her. They were heavy white with long cut sleeves and legs. Brandy looked at home in them. Brandy and Tracy both commented that Brandy had a beautiful body. I don't want to sound perverted, said Danielle, but if I was gay, Brandy would be my girlfriend anytime she wanted. Tracy chuckled. I was thinking the same thing. Esther was fixing a pillow under Brandy's head and said, and Brandy is very beautiful, but I believe with her dating record, she prefers the opposite sex. Esther smiled at the girls. I agree, though. I have a very hot aunt. Esther softly chuckled as the girls left the room. They all walked towards the other end of the apartment. Esther said that she had to check her emails and then do her kata. Tracy and Danielle both became excited. Oh, said Tracy, may we watch your kata? Esther smiled. Of course. She then suggested, why don't the 2 of you shower and meet me in the middle bedroom in 15 minutes? Day walked out of the shower. She was drying her hair with a large bath towel. Day had removed her brow stud and nose ring. She found them to be uncomfortable while sleeping. Having removed her gothic makeup, Day appeared quite different. Danielle was first to comment, Day, I love your gothic look, but you are a very beautiful young woman. That is obvious any way you present yourself. Tracy added, you have lost some weight since we saw you last, and you have toned up some. Day's silk nighties were black undies and a loose-fitting top, with only one button keeping the front secure. The twins could easily see her firm legs and tight abs. Day grinned. I have done a lot of hard running in the past few months, and it did make a difference. Thank you for noticing. I need to find the discipline that my sister has. then I could keep this healthy look. The girls were at the entrance to the spare bedroom. They noticed her sister opening the closet and the computers coming to life, as if they had just been awakened and knew it was time to go to work. "Esther is my hero," said Day. "If I could only achieve half of what she does, then I would be happy. I doubt that anyone can duplicate Esther's regimen." "We are going to watch Esther perform her kata after our shower. Do you want to join us?" asked Danielle. "Thanks, but I am going to call my dad, and I am sure that we'll be on the phone for a while," said Day. Then Danielle suggested, "Well, please join us in bed. Esther's bed can hold all of us. Perhaps we can dream together." "That would be so awesome." Danielle smiled, hugged Day as she and Tracy left for the shower. 15 minutes later, Esther closed the closet door and found the twins entering the bedroom. The timing was perfect. "I will enlighten you on some things tonight," said Esther. The twins sat down on 2 folding chairs that were in the corner. They watched Esther intensely. Esther moved to the center of the room. "If you're fighting a superior opponent, you should stay within arm's reach of each other. A strike against your sister gives you an opening against the attacker. It is nearly impossible for 2 hands to defend against 4 hands, as it is with 2 feet cannot defend against 4 feet." Esther had started the kata and was moving quickly at blinding speed. It was difficult to follow her moves, yet Esther continued to speak to the girls. "Do not watch my hands. They can hypnotize you and catch you off guard. Instead, watch the eyes of your opponent." By now, Esther was moving like a human hurricane, with her arms dealing out deadly blows to imaginary opponents. Esther continued to toss out defensive advice and occasional offensive suggestion. "Never allow your opponent to grab your hair. They control your head if successful, and that means doom. If this happens, the other sister must strike a rib blow, causing pain and disruption of thought of your attacker." The twins had failed to focus on Esther's face and had succumbed to a trance from the motion of Esther's arms. Finishing her kata, Esther kneeled down in front of the twins and put a hand on each girl's shoulder, then softly asked them to wake up. Danielle and Tracy both blinked and then asked what happened. "You both eventually allowed your eyes to follow my hands, and I was able to put you into a trance," said Esther. "You must be careful," said Esther. "I am certain that some wrestlers will use this technique to control their opponents." "Wow," said Tracy. "I am not certain what happened." "Me neither," said Danielle. Esther smiled. "I think Day is already in bed, and I think that I hear her breathing. You should join her." And with a big smile, Esther helped both twins stand and walk to the bedroom. Grinning at her sister, Esther said, "I'll take a shower to relax my body and then join you." Day was smack dab in the middle of the bed and sound asleep. The twins quickly fell into bed, one on each side of Day. Esther soon returned and had enough room to sleep on the outside of Danielle. Esther felt the silk sheets pulled up over her and the others. She then moved her right arm over Danielle's waist and fell asleep. Dreams are a funny thing. Experts say they last only seconds, and yet many people feel that they last much longer. Esther found herself watching the twins at center ring, talking to the audience, and everyone in the audience was applauding. The microphone that the twins used went quiet, and Michael Wade approached the center of the ring. Speaking in his clear and concise baritone voice, He asked for everyone's attention. I think I'm going to stop there. And that was reading 96. Hope you enjoyed it. So until next time, be safe and take care. Thank you for listening.